What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, this is my favorite day of the week, Thursday live streams. So, we are going to take a look at Martin O'Malley, and he's going to be talking a little bit about Social Security, some of the struggles that they're going through. There was a Senate hearing a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to play you guys a couple of those clips, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we'll open it up. If you guys have questions, concerns, you guys want to talk about a specific topic, then let me know. I do have a clip I want to show, and hopefully I'll be able to show this by the end of this live stream. But there was a heist, and I don't have all the details yet, but there was a heist in Los Angeles, and it was like they're calling it an Ocean's 11. I don't know if you guys saw Ocean's 11, but it was a big heist where they were able to get away with $30 million. And I want to know more about this. So I'm probably going to have to do some more research. I just saw this before I sat down. And so I recorded it really quick so I can have it for you guys just so you can see. And they don't really talk too much about this heist, but I want to look into this more because, you know, this is in my neck of the woods. So I want to know what was going on with that. Just an interesting situation, really interesting situation. And I'm sure we're going to find out more. They haven't caught anyone, and they're really baffled about this whole situation, which is crazy to me that someone could get away with, or someone, we're talking a group, organized group would get away with $30 million. And they don't have, the police officers don't have any leads or anything. So really, really interesting situation. But we're going to start off with the Social Security talk. So that's what we'll do. As you guys come in, check in with me. Let me know your name, where you're watching me from, and I think we're gonna go a step further. So your name, where you're watching me from, and if you're retired or not retired. I just kind of want to see how many people are retired watching, and how many people are still working that are watching the channel or watching the live stream. So we'll do that, and like I said, we'll open it up to. I've posted a few videos, or I posted a video every day this week. So if you guys have any questions about some of the stuff that I posted, now's the perfect time to ask me, and we can go over some of that stuff in more detail. I see someone saying that there's some lag. I'm seeing this yellow thing on the screen that's telling me that it's not enough. Not enough. What does it say? You're not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So that comes and goes. So hopefully it will get better. Just let me know. Let me know what's going on. It's all up to the internet. If the internet is slow, then sometimes it will get a little laggy. So I do apologize for that. But just let me know. The main thing is, can you hear me? And can you somewhat see me? You see a picture of me on the screen, and you can hear me. Those are the two main things. Now, if it's a little laggy, that's going to come and go. It's let's see. Chris is saying it keeps stopping. Yeah, hopefully we can get them to resolve that. I don't know. I pay for the best internet that's out there. I think it's like 100 megabytes or whatever they call it. So it's interesting that it's like, it looks like it's coming back now. Might be getting a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to contact my internet provider, because I specifically got that just because I knew I was going to start doing more live streams, and so I didn't want to have any issues. So we'll have to. Hopefully they can resolve that for me. But let's go ahead, and yeah, I see a bunch of stuff dropping off. Okay, it'll get better. It'll get better. Hopefully. All right, let me give some shout outs while we're going through this, and hopefully it will pick up, because I have videos to show you, and it's going to be really hard for me to show video if it's really laggy. One thing you guys can do me a favor, hit the like button. So hitting the like button will help bring more people into the live stream, and so please do that. That does help. And also subscribe to the channel if you have not done that. We do live streams every Thursday, and I put out a video every day. So you'll be getting a notification every day when I post videos. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right. So let me give some shout outs here. Let's see. There are a couple. Actually, let me go to the very top here. Warren Hinkle posted this early on. I think he was the first post. And it says, "Here we go again. More talk. More talks, no action. When are the American people going to get some action instead of the boring same old talks we've had since Biden took office?" Okay, so I wanted to specifically talk about this, and hopefully you're still in the building, Warren. When it comes down to this, and this is what I'm really trying to convey to the audience, it's up to us. It's not up to Congress. Because Congress, yes, they will sit on their hands. They will not do anything unless they're pushed to do so. And who needs to push them? We need to push them. And so realistically, we need to know all the facts. We need to know all the different proposals that are out there. And we need to contact our Congress people. And we need to tell them this needs to happen now. Because they will wait around. They have 9 years to wait and do nothing. 9 years. They can wait and do nothing if we don't get out there and say, look, we demand that you guys make some changes to Social Security, reform Social Security, provide an expansion for Social Security. And these are the ways that you can do it. Because we know that the Social Security 2100 Act is out there. We know that that proposal is already out there. We can go to our Congress people and say, look, do you support this? And if you don't support it, why not? And if you don't support this, what do you support? That's what we have to do. So we have to take action. We can't just sit back on our hands and say, well, they're not doing anything. Because they work for who? Who do they work for? In the chat, let me know who Congress works for. And when it comes down to it, it's up to us. That's what we're missing out of this whole thing. And you can be frustrated, you can be upset, but you have to take the initiative and tell these Congress people, look, you guys need to do something. And if enough of us are saying the same thing, sending letters, calling them on the phone, which I've sent letters, I haven't received responses. I'm going to start another wave of letters because now we're in full campaign mode, full election season. And so I'm going to send another letter to President Biden saying, look, I sent one letter, you responded, but you didn't answer my question about expanding Social Security. I'm going to send another letter to former President Trump saying the exact same thing. Former President Trump never responded to me at all when it came to, because I sent a letter, if you guys didn't know. So this was back in, October? I think it was September, October, November, sometime around that time. I was sending out letters to my congressperson, as well as one senator in my state, Senator Padilla. And then I also sent letters to, President Biden, former President Trump, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and a couple more. Hold on one second. You know what? I can do this. Just thinking in my head, I got stuff going on, stuff that's using the internet. Like I had the TV on that was streaming. So maybe I turn that off. Maybe that will help out a little bit. But so I sent out letters last year, and I believe I received 2 responses. One was from, no. I think I received one response, and one response only. That was from President Biden. I might have received 2. I can't, I'm going to have to go back and look. But I can tell you who I didn't receive responses from because I made sure to take a mental note of that. So I received a response from President Biden. I think I received a response from Senator Padilla. I think I did. Both of them did not answer my question completely. They addressed the issue, the fact that Social Security is, that it will be insolvent, or at least the trust fund will be insolvent in 10 years. At the time, they were saying 10 years. And they talked about some of the struggles that they're having. President Biden lashed out against Republicans and say, that they want to cut Social Security. but they didn't talk about an expansion to Social Security. President Biden didn't talk about some type of, a $200 raise or anything like that. And that was my specific question. Okay. Now, what was interesting is not only did I receive a response from President Biden, but some other people did as well. Some people who watch my channel. And guess what? They sent me the emails. And when we start putting the emails together, the letters together, guess what? The same letter, word for word. At least 2 letters that I received from you guys, it was the same exact letter that I received. Word for word. The only thing they changed was the address and the name on the header. That was it. Everything else, exactly the same. So it's just a cookie cutter thing. Social Security, oh, we have a letter for that. Boop, here we go. So that was disappointing. So I will send another letter to President Biden, and I'm going to send another letter to former President Trump. Former President Trump didn't respond at all. Not only did he not respond to the letter, but he didn't even give, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll have like an automated response. So when you send a letter to them via email, or if you, like, I believe I went on former President Trump's website, filled out the information. Usually there's an auto response that comes out and says, hey, we received your letter. Give us a few days and we'll respond to your letter. I didn't even get that. I never got a response from him at all. Ron DeSantis didn't get a response from him at all. Nikki Haley didn't get a response from her at all. But what I found that was interesting about those two, when they were running, the 2 candidates for running for president, what I found interesting is that they both put me on their mailer. They were sending me text messages. Anytime that there was a debate, they were sending me text messages asking me for money. And Ron DeSantis was very aggressive with that. Nikki Haley, she would do it every once in a while. And then when it was just Nikki Haley running against former President Trump, then she was doing it a lot more, asking for more when it came to donations. But Ron DeSantis, at least once a week, ever since I sent that letter off to him, once a week I would receive a text message asking me to support Ron DeSantis. The fundraising stuff is basically what they were asking for, which I thought was really, really odd or really interesting, because you don't even take the time to read my letter and respond to it, but you have the nerve to ask me for money. I just thought that was crazy. So, yeah. Okay, but getting back to what I was talking about, and getting back to Warren's comment here, when it comes down to it, it's us. We're the ones that have to make change, because Congress, they're not going to make change unless they absolutely have to. When they start feeling that pressure, guess what? They're going to start making changes because their job is on the line. That's what. How does it work when you have a supervisor and you're working for someone? How does that work? I mean, if your boss told you, you know what, I'm not gonna pay attention to what you're doing or not doing. Just do your thing. You might do work for a little while. You might do work every once in a while, but you're probably going to slack off a little bit. And some people might slack off a lot a bit. Okay. But if your boss, and you don't want your boss to be, over your shoulder all the time, but if you know your boss is going to check up on things to make sure that you're doing things, then guess what? You're probably going to work. You're probably going to do your job because your boss is watching. I mean, I had a unique situation when I was working the last 7 years of working. I was outsourced, so I was working out of a police station. I was working on a task force. I was outside of my department, so I saw my boss maybe once a month. We would have a staff meeting where we would all get together, and we were all kind of in the same situation. We were all outsourced to different police agencies. And so once a month, I'd see my boss. Every once in a while, my boss would send me an email, give me a call just to see how things are going. But I was, on my own, but I still had to perform. And I still knew that my boss would be checking up on me to make sure that I'm doing my job. And so if you don't have that, if you're just like, like the average American probably doesn't even know who their Congress people are, they don't even know who's representing them, then how do you hold that person accountable? And if that person knows that you don't really know who they are, then they're probably just going to be like, oh, well, they're not going to care because they're not even paying attention to what's going on. And so I think a big part of what we need to do is we need to know the facts. We need to know what's out there. We need to know some of the different challenges that the Social Security Administration is going through, as well as some of the different challenges that we need to look into in order to reform Social Security. We need to know that so we have that ammunition to go to these lawmakers and say, hey, look, this is what we need to do. And if they know that we have a good idea of what needs to be done and different paths to do it, guess what? They're going to listen to us a lot more. And so that's my whole spill when it comes to that. But I just, I understand the frustration, Warren. I understand it, okay? But we do have to take some responsibility and start doing some things, okay? And we need to take action. Coming on my channel on a live stream and saying, look, nothing's going to get done. This is that same old. That same frustration that you have should be going to your Congress people. That same frustration should be going to them, and you should be letting them know, look, I support this. Do you support it? Okay, I support this reform. Do you support it? We need this. Do you support that? That's where we need to go. Okay, coming on here and telling me that I'm not a congressperson. I can't make the change. I can let you know what they're talking about, but I can't make the change. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, my chat is. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm wondering why I'm not getting any chat. Okay, here we go. All right. So we're going to play a couple of clips, and I was going to do some shout outs first, but I think, you know what? We'll play a clip, and then we'll come back and we'll do some shout outs to some people that are in the room. Let's see. Jeanette's saying, what is she saying here? Let me just do this one. I agree. Social Security 2100 Act is the key, in my opinion. Yes, that's the Social Security 2100 Act is probably the most well thought out proposal that we've seen. Okay. And that's because it's been around for a while. Representative Larson keeps reintroducing this proposal. I think he started in 2014. So he's been doing it for a long time. But in order for it to actually pick up traction and pick up steam, you need to have buy-in from the public. Once we buy into it and we start talking about it and talking to our Congress people about it, the perfect way to do this, you have in the House of Representatives, every lawmaker is running for re-election or running, you're going to have people running for that seat. Okay, so either they're running for re-election, some of them will be retiring, but you have other people that are coming in and they'll be running. They're all going to be doing town hall meetings, all of them. Some of them, you might have canvassers showing up at your doorstep. That's the perfect opportunity for you to reach out, go to a town hall, and ask that question. Say, look, we need change when it comes to Social Security reform. Do you support the Social Security 2100 Act? That's all you have to say. And if they say, no, yeah, okay, well, then what do you support? So the question, usually they'll let you ask the question and then they'll answer it, but they don't let you get a rebuttal. So you don't get to say anything. So I would say, do you support the Social Security 2100 Act? If not, what do you support? And then go from there. And and then of course their first initial thing is going to be like, well, if we don't do anything, this and that, they're going to give you that whole spill that all politicians say, that we need to do something because in 9 years the trust fund's going to run out of money and that's going to be a cut, 23% cut across the board, blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you all that spill. What are you going to do about it? That's what you want to know. You hold them to that. I'm telling you, you put that pressure on them and they will, they're going to at least At the very least, they're going to listen to what you have to say and say, okay, you know what? They're on to us now. We got to do something. We can't just wait 9 years to do something. We're going to actually have to do something because they're watching us now. Okay, just like if I were, I'd give you the whole example of my job and how it was outsourced for 7 years, and I saw my boss maybe once a month. But I tell you what, if I worked, I didn't, we were always busy doing things, so it wasn't like I was just sitting on my hands. But if there was a situation where I'm sitting on my hands and I knew my boss was, paying attention to what I was doing, then of course I'm going to make sure that I'm showing, that I'm doing something. I'm not just going to sit around and sit on my hands because my job is on the line. So we have to make these politicians realize that their job is on the line if they're not moving forward with legislation that can help the American people. And and I will say with Warren's question or Warren's comment there, you have a lot of, I won't say a lot. I don't like to use the word a lot because you have some lawmakers right now that they're just buying time. They're just sitting on their hands, collecting that paycheck, going home on recess twice a month or 2 weeks out of the month. They're riding the wave. And then when it comes time to actually make the serious decisions, they're not doing that. And they're going to continue to do that until they start getting held accountable, until their constituents start really paying attention. And then when their constituents start really paying attention, they're going to do one of two things. It's going to be time for retirement, or they're going to start doing some things. Okay. And Lauren Boebert is the perfect example of this situation. And we see what's happened to her. Okay. And just to give you kind of a quick overview of her whole situation, she is a representative in Colorado. She was in the 3rd district, or she's in the 3rd district now. She's representing the 3rd district. She didn't do anything. Her time in office, she did nothing. She sat on her hands. She wasn't sitting on her hands. She was on Twitter. So she was using her hands to tweet, but she wasn't using the office to actually move forward with legislation, meaningful legislation that had a chance to pass in both the House and the Senate. She wasn't making change. And some of the changes that were made, and we just saw this, which I thought was hilarious. Some of the changes that have been made, Democrats actually made those changes. They passed legislation that made some of the changes, and she was trying to take credit. And that was the latest thing, where she was trying to take credit and say, bringing home $20 million to her district. And she was taking, a photo op with people and, yeah, look what I did. Look what I did. Guess what? She voted against that bill. So she votes against the bill, but then when the money comes, now she wants to take credit for it. Well, that blew up in her face because she's all over Twitter all the time. And so, of course, what does she do? She takes a picture, tweets about it, and then people respond to that tweet and say, hey, what are you talking about? You voted against this $20 billion, or not $20 billion, $20 million. Now you're trying to take credit for $20 million. What? You think we're not paying attention? Because one thing I will say about Twitter, it's good and bad, okay? It's good in the sense that people will catch things, okay? Some people just spend all of their time on Twitter, and if you say something and there's something more behind that, they're going to find out, and they're going to call you out on it. And I think that's one of the good things about Twitter, because in the past, politicians could get away with a lot more and not be called out on it, because how do you call it before the internet? How do you call out a politician? If a politician gets on TV and says something that's blatant lie, or that this same example where Lauren Boebert gets on there and says, thank you for the 20, we got 20 million for a home district and all this. Before the internet, how do you call them out? Unless you have a platform of your own, a media source of your own, you can't really call them out. You can send them a letter, but who cares? They just don't read the letter, and it doesn't get anywhere. No one finds out about it. But now that we have the internet, you can get called. Lawmakers get called out all the time. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll get on Twitter and I'll look at something that someone posted, and I'll immediately go to the comments. Immediately go to the comments because I want to see what the comments are saying. And I'm telling you, some of the stuff is just hilarious what they do. But anyway, going back to Lauren Boebert, she represents the 3rd district. Then she decided, okay, I'm going to move to the 4th district. Move to the 4th district because she knew in the 3rd district she probably would not win a re-election because she barely won re-election in 2022. And so she was like, you know what? I think I better go to the 4th district. So she goes to a more conservative district, and she gets there, and she has other people that are running in that district, and she wasn't doing well because people are onto it. They're onto the scheme. They know, they know the scam that she's running. They know that she's not going to do anything for them. She's just going to be on Twitter all day. She just wants to secure her job. So she thinks, you know what? If I move over there, it's more conservative. It'll be easier for me to actually win there than to win in the 3rd district. Well, guess what? It backfired on her because she was performing horribly in the polls, and they did a few straw polls and things like that. And she was like 5th out of, I think there's like 8 or 9 people running. She's like in 5th. And then the congressman in the 4th district, guess what? He resigned a couple of weeks ago. All of a sudden, just resigned. He's a Republican. He said, I'm done with this. I can't deal with this anymore. This is ridiculous. We can't get anything done. And all I'm hearing is bickering back and forth and this and this and that. And so he just resigned, suddenly resigned. And now they have to fill that seat. And so they're filling the seat. I don't know if they're doing a special runoff or what they're doing exactly in Colorado, but they're going to fill that seat with someone else because Boebert can't take that seat because she has a seat already. She would have to leave the 3rd district, leave her seat, resign out of the 3rd district in order to get that seat in the 4th district. And so they're giving it to someone else will win that seat. They win that seat. Now technically they're the incumbent. They get what am I saying? A lead on all the other people, they because they can actually say, I'm currently in the 4th district and, vote for me. I'm already doing the job. I'm trying to clean things up. Whatever they want to say, they can say that. They can run as an incumbent, whereas all the other candidates that are running right now, they're not running as an incumbent. They're running, this is their first opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this clip. I know I was talking a long time. You guys get me fired up. So another thing I want to announce now, I want to start doing more. I did a video talking about the polling. I want to talk more about the election, okay? And, it will still be centered around Social Security, but mainly I want to focus on just the different polls that are out there. How's President Biden doing compared to former President Trump? Some of these Senate races, as well as some of the congressional races that are very important for us to pay attention to. And then I do want to get into some of the different lawmakers and how they feel about Social Security. Some of the lawmakers who are running for re-election, do they support Social Security reform, an expansion of Social Security? Are they in support of that, or are they actually against it? So I do want to do that as well. But I'm going to put out more videos. And I'm just telling you guys, I'm trying to prepare you guys. So if you see a video about elections, click on that video, watch it, please. Because when I put those videos out, they do poorly. And the one that I put out yesterday, it did terrible. But still, some people got something out of it. And so I will continue to do that. That's not going to be the only video that I put out. I think generally what I'm going to do is post a video in the morning. It's going to be the videos that centered around retirement and Social Security. And then later on in the evening, I'll post another video that will be more centered around the election, polling numbers and different things like that. And then on the weekends, I might do some more videos about that. Okay, so let's take a look at one part here. I can't remember what senator. I think this is Senator Grassley that's going to be asking Martin O'Malley some questions about Social Security. Okay, so understand they're not really talking too much about Social Security reform. They're talking more about Social Security, the administration as a whole. They're talking about some of the challenges that they're having, how to fix some of the problems that they're having with long wait times and all of that stuff. So that's really what they're focused on here. But they do talk a little bit. I think I have 3 clips to show you guys, and there are a few that talk a little bit about some of the struggles that are I won't say the struggles. I think Senator Grassley actually talks about this when he does. And so I'm going to prepare you for this, and I will be stopping it kind of along the way, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the things. But just listen to Senator Grassley and how he talks about Social Security. Okay, now he's not just talking about the Social Security Administration. He's actually talking about the fact that Social Security will see cuts. Okay, so I'm going to play that, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Here we go.
To OASDI are $5,000 or less. 92% of people get a hold of us, but in an agency this big, if you're harming 8% of the people, that's a lot of people.
Well, I look forward to your work in this and to hearing as you go along if there are other things that need to be done. I'd like to know. I'm sure members of the committee would.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Senator Menendez. Now this is Senator Grassley coming up.
Thank you, Senator.
A CBO report from last month.
Let me skip forward. I thought I had it queued up for you guys, but I guess I didn't. All right, here we go. There's Senator Grassley. All right.
You know, it can play is part of that. But the larger problem is this. It is a very staff-intensive program to administer, and it is an income-based program, and our staffing levels are at a 27-year low. So in addition to being a complex program, it's also facing the same sort of understaffing challenges that the whole agency is facing. Thank you.
I thank my colleague, Senator Graff.
Okay, so now here it is. I thought I had it queued up, but apparently I didn't. So here's Senator Grassley, and just listen to his first statement/question.
Yeah. Remote work is a problem throughout the federal government, not just with Social Security. But I want you to know that I hear from Iowans that are getting in-person assistance at field offices is a real challenge. And I recently read about your organization entering into a memorandum of understanding with employee union that expands this episodic telework. So how are you going? By the way, I think this is something you and I discussed when you came to my office. I didn't try to get a commitment out of you on anything on that point, but I did want to point out to you how I thought that your predecessor probably lost his job because he was taking on this effort to try to get more people to come to the office. So how are you going to serve seniors when there's even more remote work than there is now?
Okay, so he actually talks about the cuts to Social Security in the next question. But I want to address this one because I think this is really important. So he's talking about telework. Okay, so he's talking about people working from home, basically. Okay. What I find hilarious about this discussion is the fact that Congress people do a lot of teleworking. They do a lot of working from home. They go on recess at least once 1 week per month, but in most cases, it's 2 weeks per month. They're on recess right now. They don't return until next week. They've been on recess since the last week of March. And so it's just, I mean, it blows my mind how clueless these lawmakers are, or how, I won't even say clueless, how out of touch they are. Because the criticism here is that you have people that are working for the Social Security Administration that are teleworking maybe once or twice per week. Okay, so they're working from home once or twice per week. And these lawmakers, not all of them, but some lawmakers, Senator Grassley, I'll just say Senator Grassley because he's the one that's making this statement, but I've heard some other lawmakers make the same statement, that the fact that they're not working in the office, so they're not as productive. That is what they're getting to. Okay? And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is another one that says the same thing. If they're not working in the office, then they're not going to be productive they're not going to be as productive as if they're working from home. They're not going to be as productive as if let me say it one more time. If they're working from home, they're not going to be as productive as they would be if they were working in the office. That's their argument. But we see these lawmakers going home 2 weeks out of the month. And you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, they're right. Because they don't get anything done. These Congress people don't get anything done. And that's probably why they're not getting anything done, because they're going on recess every other week, it seems like. So maybe if they stayed in Washington, D.C. more, they can get more things done. And then they can have staff in their home districts finding out the needs of their constituents, and they can stay in D.C. and actually vote on legislation, negotiate legislation, and pass things. So maybe they're right. Maybe they are right. Senator Grassley, maybe he has the right point there. He understands that when we do all this teleworking, when we do all this recess working, we're not getting anything done. So maybe it's the same thing that's going on in the Social Security Administration. But it's laughable to me to when I listen to politicians talk about that people are working from home. How dare they work from home? How can they telework? They're not getting anything done. And then we have these lawmakers sitting on their hands, not doing anything and going on recess every, like I said, I pull up the calendar for April. I forgot when they're going to be on their recess in April, but it's just sad. It's almost, it's a joke. It really is. What is this? Let me show you guys this. So this is the calendar for April. Okay, so this is their month. So they're going to be off. And I like to show you guys this stuff so you guys see, you guys understand. Look, this is what these are the people that are representing us in office. So they were off the first or the last week. They were off this week here in March. And I say off, they were on recess. And then they're on recess all of this week. The Senate will return on the 8th. So Senator Grassley, he'll return on the 8th. And then the House returns on the 9th, and then they'll both be in session for the rest of that week. And then all of from the 15th through the 19th. And guess what? They go on recess. 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, they're on recess again. And then they'll come back for the last 2 days of the month. And I haven't even pulled up May yet. So I'll pull up May probably. I always do a calendar. So if you guys watch my channel, I always do a calendar at the end of the month. So at the end of April, I'll do a calendar for May, and I'll show you guys what's going on with that calendar. But it's just, it's just laughable. It really is. Like the nerve of Senator Grassley to be so appalled that you have people that are teleworking. So let's hear what Martin O'Malley, his response to this. Here we go.
Senator, let me share with you that on February 2nd, we changed our telework balance, and this is the sum and substance of it. I said, look, I'm here 5 days on site, 5 days a week, every day of the week. And if I'm not here, I'm in one of the regions or catching a Dawn's Early Light flight. My commissioner's office, the commissioner's office at headquarters, is there 4 days a week, 1 of telework. All of the other components, 3 days a week, 2 of telework. Now, the field offices have been open 5 days a week, 9 to 5, ever since the shutdown ended. That's a fact. We also do a pretty decent job of getting people appointments within a reasonable time. We can debate what reasonable is, but they also answer the phones in the field between 3 to 5 minutes. But this item that you touched on, the episodic telework, was simply this. When I was I can't remember whether I was in Kansas City or San Francisco, a young dad who worked at our teleservice centers said, my son was really sick. I needed to get him to emergency care right away, but my wife was coming home and was going to come off her job and relieve me. I asked my supervisor, could I come in and work the second half of the day? And she said no. We don't allow that sort of episodic, granting of a half day or something. And so when it came time for us to bring everybody back to the regional headquarters, everybody back to the Baltimore headquarters for more days, the question was asked, are we going to allow them to take a personal half day and telework on those days if some calamity happens, sick kid, a flat tire or something? And I said, well, sure, we're not monsters, we're human beings, life happens. And they said, well, what about for the union organized workforce? I said, don't they already have that? And they said, no. I said, well, that's not fair. I mean, do they not have sick kids? Do they not have flat tires? So I don't want that to distract you, though, from the larger movement, which is to have core collaboration days at the headquarters, to keep those field offices open 5 days a week, 9 to 5, and to make sure that we see people. We're doing all of those things, albeit with a lot less staff than before, but we're not going backwards and doing more telework.
Both Trump and Biden are running on a campaign or not.
Okay, so every time Senator Grassley talks, I don't know. He sounds, I don't know. He's like a character, like a cartoon character to me. Okay, so this is what I want to focus on here. This is when he talks about cuts to Social Security.
Not cutting Social Security. I think that's a stupid thing. They aren't serving the future generations. They should by running on that sort of a platform, but that is their platform. And obviously, if they do nothing, they are not going.
Okay, let me go back because I think the context got lost because I interrupted let me play the whole clip.
They should by running on that sort of a platform, but that is
right in a Dawn's Early Light flight. The commissioner's office.
Can't really move this the way I want. All right, let's.
So I don't want that to distract you, though, from the larger movement, which is to have core collaboration days at the headquarters, to keep those field offices open 5 days a week, 9 to 5, and to make sure that we see people. We're doing all of those things, albeit with a lot less staff than before, but we're not going backwards and doing more telework.
Both.
Okay, so I just wanted to get the whole context in here. Now we can start it. I just want you to hear exactly how he says it. So basically what he's going to say is President Biden and former President Trump, they have pretty much the same. Well, I'm not going to call it the same platform, but they're saying the same thing. They don't want to make any cuts to Social Security. So this is Senator Grassley, his frustration with them saying that.
Trump and Biden are running on a campaign or not cutting Social Security. I think that's a stupid thing. They aren't serving the future generations. They should by running on that sort of a platform, but that is their platform. And obviously, if they do nothing, they are not going to cut it in the next 4 years. But we all know that by 2033, based on what your studies show, that it's going to go from 100% down to 77% of scheduled benefits. Now, is that a cut to you? I'm not asking what Trump and Biden would say about it, but if you go from 100% to 77%, isn't that a cut?
Absolutely. If Congress isn't able to avert it, as you all did in 1982, that would be a real hit to people.
Yeah. The Social Security.
Okay, so let's stop there. I want to talk about that for a second. So you heard Senator Grassley, the way he just spoke out loud, just said what's on his mind. So he's upset because President Biden and former President Trump have said that they don't want to make any cuts to Social Security. And what did Senator Grassley say? I think that's a stupid idea. I think that's a stupid idea. We need to make cuts to Social Security right now. That's what he's saying. Okay? Because he's not even saying we need to reform Social Security right now. He's saying he thinks it's a stupid idea that they're saying that they don't want to make any cuts to Social Security. Okay? Because he's saying that in 9 years, the trust fund's going to run out of money. And when that trust fund runs out of money, that's going to be a 70, or it's going to be a 23% cut. So going to be, it's going to cut Social Security benefits down to only 77% of benefits will be able to go out. And so he thinks it's a stupid idea that their strategy is to say that they don't want to make any cuts to Social Security. Now, the argument can be, and just think of it this way, it's sad that we have to think of it like this, but do you want cuts now or do you want cuts in 9 years? If you had a strategy of how to handle this, and you had one side saying, let's cut right now, we need to make cuts right now. So either cuts now or cuts in 9 years. If Congress is going to do nothing, I would rather wait the 9 years and have the cuts in 9 years than have the cuts right now. Okay, now my scenario, my perfect scenario is that they reform Social Security. Stop talking about cuts at all. Stop talking about raising the full retirement age. Stop talking about all that stuff and look at what they really need to do. They really need to raise the payroll contribution. That has to happen. So raise the cap on people making $168,600 or more, and then look into raising the payroll contribution across the board. But you do it by going to the American people and saying, look, we're in a situation right now when it comes to Social Security. And most lawmakers will at least tell you in 9 years, we're going to be in trouble when it comes to Social Security. We're going to see a cut of about 23%. This is how we can help not see that cut. That might mean that we need to raise the payroll contribution across the board. So everyone working right now, you might have to pay 1% more or 2% more. And every employer, they might also have to pay 1% or 2% more to match. Okay, so right now you're paying 6.2% when you're working. Your employer's matching that 6.2%. So that's what, 12.4% going to the Social Security Administration. Some experts have said that if it's around 15%, 15 to 16%, that would suffice. That would reform Social Security. That would be enough to reform Social Security. So if you have that honest conversation with the American people, I think most people looking at the situation, let's say that you have a person who is my age, 52, and my situation, I paid into a pension. So I'm a little bit different. I'm paying into Social Security right now, but I paid into a pension prior to that. So let's say you're 52 years old. You've been paying into Social Security since you were 22. So for 30 years, you've been paying into Social Security, paying into the payroll contribution. And you're thinking, okay, I would love to retire. Let's say I want to retire at 62. I want to do early retirement, but I don't want to see that cut when I retire in 9 years or 10 years. So most people would be willing to pay a little bit more in contributions now so they won't see that cut in 9 or 10 years, right? Most people. You're 52 right now and you're looking at the situation. You're thinking, yeah, you know what? I pay a little bit more. I don't have a problem doing that. What I have a problem with is not doing anything at all and then seeing that 23% cut, or having lawmakers right now say, you know what? We're going to raise that full retirement age from 67 to 69. And then that early retirement age of 62, we're going to raise that to 64. And so now a person of my age at 52 is looking at that and thinking, okay, when is that going to be implemented? And that will impact me because in 10 years, I'm not going to be able to retire. I won't be able to do the early retirement. I might have to wait until I'm 64. And when I get to 64, I guess the benefit reduction will probably be about the same. So if you're doing the early retirement, you'll still have to wait an additional 2 years. You won't be able to retire at 62. You have to wait an additional 2 years to get the same amount of money that you would have gotten at 62 if they started messing around with the full retirement age. And so looking at that, some people might say, well, you know what? If you're not going to reform Social Security, then we're better off, waiting the 9 years. And at least, and I'm mainly talking about the people who are currently receiving benefits. At least they get their full benefits until 2033, and then we'll have to see what they do, as opposed to them starting to tinker around with Social Security now and make cuts to Social Security early. So it's just interesting how you have Senator Grassley, and I don't know, I have not heard any proposal that Senator Grassley has put forward when it comes to reforming Social Security. But he will be out there talking about, yes, this is a stupid idea that we want to, that, they're talking about not making cuts to Social Security. Okay. Okay, let's see. So we listened to that. That was actually longer than I anticipated. I got to get my timing down, because some things I think, oh yeah, I'll play 3 clips, and now I'm looking, and we've already been on here for about an hour, and I want to get to some of the stuff that you guys are talking about. So I think we'll play the end of Senator Grassley's statement here, or his questions here, and then we're going to get into the chat, see what you guys have to say.
Act requires the Board of Trustees, which includes the Social Security Commissioner, to report on the trust fund financial status by April 1. It's frequently missed. Can Congress expect that report April 1st? And if not, why not?
Yeah, we were hopeful that we were going to be able to get it to you, but there was data from the U.S. Census that was late arriving, so we won't make the April 1st, but it will come shortly thereafter. It'll be.
And when that information comes out, there's going to be some information, and I don't know exactly what it will be, but I will let you guys know, and I'll do a few videos talking about it.
A delay of a few weeks, but not a few months.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so that was Senator Grassley. Man, he cracks me up. Is it just me, or does he looks like what was it, the Muppets? Who are those guys? Those old or maybe it was Sesame Street. I can't remember. The old guys that were I can't remember their names, but they would sit, I think they were sitting in a theater. And I haven't watched those Muppet shows and stuff in such a long time, but he just looks like one of those guys, and he reminds me every time he talks. I just laugh. Okay, all right. Let's look at what you guys are talking about in the chat. And Seisha, what's going on, Seisha from Missouri? Let's see. The Higgins, what's your response you received from Senator and U.S. House of Representatives? I guess you guys are talking to each other. I don't know if you're talking to me or not. I talked about my responses. Let's see. And most of them just tell you what you want to hear. Yes, and some of them don't even do that. I assume you're talking about lawmakers. Some of them don't even do that. They don't even tell you what you want to hear anymore. They just, it's crazy. They feel that they can just get away with it without not doing anything, not trying to represent their constituents or anything. It's just it's gotten really bad. And I think, honestly, I think that the Twitter is what really changed a lot of things for the good. Like I said, good and the bad. The bad, because I think a lot of these lawmakers now they have a national audience, whereas before they wouldn't have this national audience. People wouldn't know them outside of their district, but now they have a national audience. People all over the U.S., all over the world, they know who some of these lawmakers are, these representatives mainly, and so they're able to collect more campaign funding and all this stuff, and just run their campaign based on what they're doing on Twitter. Whereas before, they actually had to represent their district, because they didn't have this big audience. And so, yeah, but the good thing about Twitter is when they're out there saying stuff, they always get called on it. So if they put things out there, they're going to get called on it. The latest information, or the latest thing that's out there right now, we're going to find out this next week. So on the 8th, well, probably the 9th. So the 9th, that is when both the House and the Senate will reconvene from their recess, from their teleworking. And they are going to have to take, or in the House, they're going to have to take up this whole situation. Marjorie Taylor Greene is is filing a petition to God, I can't remember the word. A motion to vacate. She's filing a motion to vacate the speaker. Okay, so Speaker Johnson, his job is on the line, and she's basing this mainly on the Ukraine aid. So if they move forward with Ukraine aid, then and I don't even know. I don't know how far she's going. She's being she's not giving out much information as far as is she going to do this or not. But you only need one person to file a motion to vacate. So if she files this motion to vacate and she's able to pull in, I think now they probably need like 2 or 3 votes, 2 or 3 Republicans to vote to oust her, the speaker, then it can happen. I mean, if all the Democrats vote to oust her, which you have to understand, the Democrats have, they want Hakeem Jeffries to be speaker, so they're going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries as speaker. And if they can, vote with these 3 or 4 Republicans to ouster Johnson, then Hakeem Jeffries has an opportunity. Now, it most likely will not happen, but he has an opportunity to become speaker. But they would have to, Democrats and Republicans would have to come together. You'd have to have a few Republicans come together in order to vote for Hakeem Jeffries to be the speaker. And so we'll have to see what happens. Now, what also could happen is Speaker Johnson can try to form some alliance with Democrats in order to keep his speakership. But of course, that's going to come with Democrats saying, hey, we scratch your back, you scratch ours. If we keep you in this spot, you're going to have to help us moving forward with legislation. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. But honestly, Congress shouldn't, we're so divided right now as a country, I won't say a country. We're so divided in government. And I guess, they represent, however you want to see it. The division is there. We could say that there's division among, Americans, but there's definitely division among Congress people. And so they're not working together at all. The problem with not working together is nothing gets done. Nothing will ever get done if you don't work together. You have to work together. In the Senate, they have to work together because they need 60 votes, and you only have 51 Democratic senators and 49 Republicans. So you have to work together to get those 60 votes. And if you don't work together, nothing gets done. And who gets hurt if nothing gets done? Us, the American people. Because these politicians, they'll still pull in their $174,000 a year. They'll still go on recess twice a month or 2 weeks out of the month. They'll still do all of that. And on top of it, they can just sit on their hands and not do anything. And so we're the ones that get hurt out of this whole situation. And so we'll see what happens, but that's going to be the talk. So from starting the 9th, we're going to hear more and more about this. I think the speaker is meeting with Marjorie Taylor Greene, or they're going to have a phone conversation or something at the end of, what's today? Is today Friday? No. Tomorrow, I think they're having their call or meeting or what have you. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. But yeah, we're the ones that are getting hurt out of this whole situation. And these politicians, they don't seem to care. All right, let's see. Retired at age 62 in 2021. Last year turned 65. And now my check once a month had to shorten. Had to shorten to help take care of my health insurance, and it's already a small monthly check. Now it's so much smaller. Yeah, so yeah. And you know what? They're like, I'm not collecting Social Security right now, okay? So I have a pension. That's what I'm receiving for retirement, but I'm still working. I'm retired, but I have my own business, okay? And so I'm paying into Social Security. And once I think I need 5 more years, and then I'll have enough points to get the full 10 years that you need. And then I can, once I get to the age to collect Social Security, then I can start collecting. But one of the big shockers when it comes to Social Security is they're factoring in, and I posted a video today. If you didn't catch my video today, go to my channel and check out this video, because I was talking just about the fact that the average Social Security benefit right now is $1,907. That's the average, okay? And that is not enough for most people to live on. And Social Security wasn't designed for you to live on it 100%. It needs, I mean, realistically, it shouldn't cover more than 40%. So you do need to bring in some type of retirement, whether it be a pension, whether it be a 401k, IRA, whatever it is, you need to have some type of retirement plan set up. And the sad part about this whole situation is a lot of people don't realize they're not going to be receiving that much in Social Security benefits. They think it's a lot more than what they'll actually receive. And so when they get to that point where they start looking at, okay, I want to retire at 62 and I have 500,000 or 400,000 in my retirement, in my 401k, and then they start looking and say, okay, if I draw from that at 4%, it should last me 30 years. Now, I did this video. That's why I'm telling you all these numbers, because I did this video earlier today and posted it. So let's say I retire and I take 4% every year out of that 400,000. Well, that's only $16,000 a year. And then now I look at my Social Security, and my Social Security, let's say I'm getting that $1,900 a month, or I'm getting $2,000 a month. Well, that's only, a total, combining them together, that's about $40,000. Okay. And in some areas, $40,000 might be fine. But in some other areas, you can't live on $40,000 in retirement. That's just not enough. And so, people start to realize, wow, I can't do this. I can't retire, or I can retire, but I'm going to have to continue working. If it's part-time or what have you, I'm going to have to continue working, because I can't just retire on the money that I'll be receiving from Social Security and whatever retirement plan that I have set up. And the average, and the reason I use 400,000 is the average person between, I think it was 54 to 64, something like that, whatever the numbers were. But around that age, on average, people have collected about $400,000. And so that's why I'm using that 400,000 number when it comes to your retirement. So it's just not enough. And then to factor in, like Ethel was saying, to factor in health insurance, okay, that can take a lot. And if it's Medicare or whatever if you have a private health insurance, it's a lot of money. Like I'm paying almost $1,000 a month just for retirement. Now, I don't have Medicare. I have a regular, private insurance, but it can be very expensive. And so you have to really start factoring those things in. Now, luckily, in my job, we have a stipend that we get to help offset some of the costs when it comes to your health insurance. But still, out of pocket, it would have been, and I still pay a portion of it, but out of pocket, it would have been $1,000. Wow. $1,000 a month just for health insurance. Okay. Timothy Connor from Ohio. And yes, I'm retired. Congratulations. And Bobert is a carpetbagger. Yeah, she's moving around, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work for her, because those constituents in the 4th district, they're onto her. So she's not going to win. She will be out of office in January. Was it January 3rd? I think is when they're officially out of office, or when the new Congress comes in. She will be out of office, but she will be out of office because she did nothing but get on Twitter. That's why she'll be out of office. If she kept her nose down, worked for the American people, wasn't on Twitter trying to be controversial and do all this stuff to go viral, she probably would have been able to keep her job. But she wanted to, be out there. Let's see. Now, if you guys are looking at this, you're thinking, what is this Streamlabs thing? I need to change that name too. It's a bot. Okay, and I don't want to get too technical, but basically it's a little bot that we have that automatically will post different things. So if you see, let's say if you want to join membership, there's a link there. You can click on it. It will tell you to subscribe. It will tell you to like the video, blah, 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 just to kind of keep things going. So I don't have to keep typing that over and over in the chat. But you guys can do me a favor by hitting the like button. That helps out. You could do that right now. I'd appreciate it. Let me get that official like. There we go. All right. And we got, you know what? I got to start using these. I never use them.
Bye, Felicia.
All right. I got to start using the sound effects. Make this show a little more exciting. All right. Let's see. Well, hopefully you'll get a good response. I was just really curious. Good luck. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll send the letters out. And hopefully now that it's official, I mean, we have 2 candidates running for president. We have third-party candidates as well. You know what? I will send a letter to Kennedy and Jill Stein. I think she's running too. I'll send a letter to her. I'll send a letter to everyone and see what their response is. I have no idea how Kennedy feels about Social Security reform. I don't know if I've ever heard him talk about that, but I will send them all letters and see who responds and what they say. One thing I know is they're going to put me on their mailer, so I'll be getting text messages and stuff. But other than that, I want to hear what they have to say about it. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? Mendez. Mendez is a criminal. Mendez the criminal. So he is innocent until proven guilty. But I would agree, it doesn't look good for him. He's been indicted on some corruption, fraud. I don't even know all the details when it comes to the stuff that he has been indicted on. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, Jaime's asking, or is this Jamie? Jamie is asking, is this recorded or live? This is live. We're live right now. So, you know, it's funny. Sometimes I'll have people thinking that it's actually live after the fact. You know, so after we do the live, they're thinking, is this live? Or they're talking like it's actually live. But no, we're live right now. Every Thursday, 5:15 Pacific Standard Time, we go live and we chat, talk about some of the different topics. I think it'll be great that I'm doing live streams now because I'll do the letters. I'll send the letters. Matter of fact, this weekend, I'll start sending the letters out. And then you guys can send letters as well. And then you guys can let me know in the chat the responses that you're getting from the letters. And then also, I will be changing my email to an email that's specific for this channel. I'm going to be doing that very shortly. I'll put that email out. So the old email, I think it still works, but it will be changing very soon. And then you guys can send me those, just like we did before. Send me the letters, and we'll go over the letters. We'll read them and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's in them. Let's see. What else you guys are... Didi saying, let's see, facts. It's that our government is horrible. So we have to demand more. That's the bottom line is we need to demand more. Our employees, because they're working for us, they can do better. They can do a much better job, but they need to be held accountable. And when you start seeing, and I keep going back to Lauren Boebert, I know, but when politicians start seeing the results of not doing anything and being on Twitter all the time, maybe they'll realize, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to be on Twitter all the time, and I'm going to actually try to get some work done, because if I don't, I'll end up like, you know, Lauren Boebert or someone else. Okay. Okay. What are we saying here? Gary is saying, believe it or not, that's why our Congress and government is so divided, but they're so blind to see what they're saying is pretty much all about themselves. I think some of them, they're not blind. They know what they're saying, and they know it's all about them. But some of them aren't good enough to, kind of finesse it. They just put it out there. They just open their mouths, and you're like, what? Okay, yeah, you shouldn't be saying that. But they don't have that ability to, when I say finesse, I just mean they're not slick about it. All right. All right, guys, if you have any questions, we're coming into, we'll be on here for a little bit longer, but I want to answer any questions if you guys have those. I didn't get a chance to show I had two other video clips. What I'll do is I'll probably do an actual video of it and post it tomorrow. I just didn't realize how long just watching one clip would take. So I'm going to have to remember that for next live stream. Let's see. Arthur's saying, I used to telework all the time. So multitasking is what people do when they telework, at least if they want to be productive. Yeah, you know what? During the pandemic, in my job, I really had to supervise people. Like I had to make sure that the people that I was supervising were doing the things they need to do. But we were allowed to telework like maybe once a week, something like that. So I would do that because I would have reports that I needed to write for the court. And so I would use that time, the telework time, to be at home and write reports. I actually got a lot done because my system at home, my office at home was I had a lot more stuff. Like you guys don't see this, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 screens in this area here. And then I have another desk on the other side where I have another, 1, 2, 3, another 3 monitors over there. And so when I was at home doing work, I was able to have different monitors open, email on this one, my reports on this one. And so I was able just to get work done. Oh, I got an email. Okay, check that email. Okay, let me get back to this. And then, so I was able to really multitask. When I'm at work, all I had was just one. And usually I was just using a laptop. So I just had the laptop screen. So I'm doing everything on that. So it's kind of hard to multitask, but much easier for me to do it at home. Okay. Isabella is saying, we pay them. They do nothing at all for the people. Shame on them. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Brian's asking me, what do you think about Donald Trump? He should be the president. I disagree. Donald Trump had 4 years. Okay, this is what I want to say when it comes to Trump. Okay, and you guys might like this or not like it, but hey, I'm gonna be honest with you guys when it comes to politicians. Okay, and I've been watching politicians for a very long time, and Donald Trump is about Donald Trump. Okay, he's not about the American people, and so he's always going to be that way. And so I don't really see him doing much. Now, when it comes to a president, and you have to understand this, and I know one of the arguments, and I hear this all the time. Well, when former President Trump was president, things were much better. The economy was good and all this. Presidents have very little control over the economy. And I will tell you, if presidents had control over the economy, don't you think the economy would be good all the time? Because it benefits the president, right? But they have very little control over the economy. Congress has more control over the economy than the president does. Because all the president can do is sign off on what Congress sends to him or her. That's it. That's all they can do. So it has to get to their desk before they sign off on it. Now, since Congress has the purse, since they have the money, then guess what? They can impact the economy. Now, one of the reasons the economy was so good is because he was handed a baton. The economy was good under Obama when he left. He was handed that baton. And so, of course, it's going to be good because it's just like a relay race. When you're running a relay race, if someone's in the lead if one team is in the lead and they hand that baton off to you, even if you're running slow, you're still in the lead because you were handed that baton, you have that advantage, right? Now, if you keep running slow for a long time, then eventually, it's going to catch up. You're going to have people catch up to you. Okay. So yes, we had a good economy, but then what happened? Then we had the pandemic, and the pandemic shut down everything. And that changed our economy because we had to do different things in order to try to stay out of a recession. Okay. And so we had to spend a lot more. And when we started spending, guess what happens? Inflation. And inflation's not going to be immediate. It's going to take some time. And if you're pumping money into our economy, you keep pumping it. That's what we were doing. We were trying to save, we didn't want to fall into a recession. So we were trying to save all these businesses that had to shut down. We were giving them PPP funding. We're pretty much giving PPP funding to anybody. I mean, you didn't even really have to have a business, it seems like, because some people were I won't say some. There were a lot of people getting that money fraudulently, and you didn't have to. They were trying to streamline the process, make it faster, so they weren't doing all the checks that they needed to do in order to make sure that people had legitimate businesses, and the government was just handing out money, money for businesses. And these businesses were spending all of that money. So when you start spending all that money, guess what happens to the price of things? It's going to go up. They're going to go up. And then on top of that, and I don't think this was a main culprit, but, anytime, I think PPP funding was more of a culprit than stimulus checks, but we also had stimulus checks. People were getting money. That money they were going and they were spending, spending that money, and that drives the prices up as well. Because if I'm a store owner, let's just look at this. I'm a grocery store owner and I'm selling eggs. Or I won't even say I'm a grocery store owner. I have a little egg stand. I have an egg stand on the corner and I'm selling eggs. And when the pandemic hit, one thing I'll do is I'm going to go and say, well, I sell eggs, so I have a business. I'm going to go get some PPP funding. So I get all this money for PPP. This PPP funding, I go and I spend and I go buy this really elaborate, what do they call that? Food truck or whatever it is, big, nice, brand new truck. And I buy this and I buy that because I have all this money. And then I have people coming to me that receive stimulus checks. They have to, we all have to eat. So now they're going and the demand for purchasing eggs goes up. And if the demand goes up, guess what? The price goes up because more people want it. Now I can charge more for it. And so we saw that, but it took time. So it wasn't immediate. So yes, we didn't see an inflation during Trump's administration, but when Biden came in and Biden sent out stimulus checks as well, and we were still trying to stimulate the economy with the Affordable Care Act, and we were still trying to stay out of a recession, which I think as of up to this point, we haven't hit a recession, okay? So, but we saw inflation in 2022 as a result of all the spending. And so now we're coming down off that, and inflation is going down, and the prices have not reflected that yet, but in time those prices will reflect that. And so we'll have to see. But getting back to Donald Trump is about Donald Trump. He's not about helping the American people. And that's why when you're listening to what he is, when he does his speeches, and you guys, please, if you guys are supporting Trump, that's fine, but listen to his speeches. Listen to what he says. What is he saying about helping the American people? Mainly what Donald Trump is talking about, he's lashing out about everybody else. The judges are doing this, they're corrupt, they're this. Biden is corrupt, he's doing this, he's doing that. Everybody is an enemy, that's against him. But what is he talking about doing for the American people? What is his plan to move forward? That's what I want to hear. So anyone running for president, I want to hear what your plan is. What is your plan moving forward? I don't want to know what your grievances are. I don't want to know what your problem, the problem that you're having with this person, the problem that you're having with that person. I don't want to know all that. I want to know what you're going to do for me. I don't want to know what, the problems that you're having with I don't know, just every day is that's all we hear. I don't hear him saying anything about what he wants to do for the American people. And that's the main problem that I have with Trump. Okay, so, if you guys know any different, let me know what his proposals are. What is his proposal for Social Security? What does he support? Has he ever talked about an increase for Social Security? Has he ever talked, you can criticize Biden for talking about the $200 that he supported, a $200 raise for Social Security. I haven't even heard Trump say anything about Social Security other than we're not going to make any cuts. But what are we going to do to reform it? He hasn't talked about a plan to move forward with that. Okay. The only plans that you hear coming from former President Trump are really superficial, simple ideas. Build a wall. Mexico's paying for it. That's it. Simple stuff like that. No details. No, how are we going to make another country pay for the wall? Nothing like that. It's just simple things that they're what are they? I'm going way back. Zingers. It's like just one-liners where you can get people energized, but there's nothing behind it because there's no possible way to do that. And so that's why, and just getting back to the whole build a wall thing, that's why that didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere because there was no substance behind it. You can get people excited about something, but if you don't have a proposal or a plan to move forward, guess what? It's not going to get done. You could say, yeah, we're building a wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. Okay, how do you plan to have that? How is that going to happen? And if you don't go into the details, then you become president, and now you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, we got to build a wall, and we're going to make Mexico pay for it, but how are we going to make them pay for it? Oh, I know, we're going to charge them tariffs, or we're going to charge it. Well, if you charge them tariffs, if you make them pay more to send their products, let's say you have avocados that are grown in Mexico, which I live in California, so a lot of our avocados are coming from Mexico. A lot of our fruits and vegetables are coming from Mexico. Like I don't know if you guys have this experience. You go to the grocery store, and it'll say, like, I don't know if maybe it's in California, there's like a rule that they have to say where it's coming from, but it'll say in the U.S., grown in the USA, and then it'll say grown in Mexico. And like, usually you have a lot of stuff that's grown in Mexico, but nonetheless, you say we're going to raise the price, raise tariffs on these products that are coming in. Those tariffs, that cost, it's just going to be passed on to us. So if it's an avocado that normally would cost me, let's say $1.99 per avocado, and there's a tariff on it, so they have to pay, they have to pay more to have it sent to the U.S., they're just going to charge that to me. So that the price of that avocado, instead of $1.99, is going to be $2.99. That's all they're going to do. And that wall still is not going to be funded because that money, they'll get the money, but now I have to pay more. So realistically, I'm still going to be paying for the wall because now I'm just paying more for avocados. And so, yeah, that's that's my thing when it comes to Donald Trump. You show me his plans for the future, like his real plans, his proposals that he's putting out there. Not I think he's saying this or I think he's saying that. Show me his real plans. This is a good one. This one is about Social Security. Okay, he talked about Social Security. And in an interview, he was saying, yeah, there's money. We have money. We have oil. That's what he kept saying. We have money. We have oil. So we can get oil money to reform Social Security. Okay. Another one line, one sentence, whatever zinger, right? Because, okay, how do you plan on doing that? Let me know the details of how you plan on getting, we're going to drill more for oil, which we're already drilling at. I think we're drilling the most that we've ever drilled as far as for oil. And we're doing that in this Biden administration. We're drilling more than we drilled when Trump was president. But we're going to drill more for oil. And then how is that going to, we're going to have money that's set aside. So some of the money is going to, these companies that are drilling the oil, they're going to have to pay a tax or something, a Social Security tax that's going to go to the Social Security Administration. How do we plan on using that money for Social Security? That's what I want to know. If it's going direct to the Social Security Administration, or are they just saying, well, if we drill more, then we'll hire more people, and then those more people will be paying into the payroll contribution, and then the oil company will match that contribution, and then we'll have a little bit more money? Is that what we're talking about? Or are we actually talking about money that's going to come directly from that oil, the proceeds of that oil, and going straight to the Social Security Administration? I don't think that they would do that. I don't think that former President Trump would be okay with that, because that would mean more taxes on corporations, these big oil corporations, which have a huge lobby. They pay a lot of money to lobby Congress, and so it just would not happen. And so that's all I'm saying. I don't want to talk too much about that. But you asked the question, so I am going to answer it. All right. R. Rod says that Trump has the attention span of a 10-year-old, and he pouts and whines like one. All right. And all I need to do when it comes to politicians, all I need to do is look at their policy. What do they believe? What are they talking about? Does it make sense? Those are the things that I'm looking at. What they're talking about doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, I'm not voting for that person, because they have no. And some of the stuff that politicians will talk about, it's there's something said when it comes to, we don't like career politicians, but at least a career politician knows how the game is played. And, I see Donald up here saying Trump, wiser business person, and how money works, period. Okay. So being a business person and being a politician, there are certain advantages to being a business person. Okay. But there's certain advantages to being a politician, because you know how things work. You know what's possible, what's attainable. And in a lot of situations, you have business people that come in with that business mindset, and they become politicians, and they quickly realize it's not a dictatorship. If I'm a businessman, if I own a business and I don't have a board, it's not a publicly traded business. It's me. I'm at the head. I don't have to answer to anyone. That's as a business mindset going into becoming a politician. Guess what? You might be on top. You might be the president, but you don't have the end all be all. You have to deal with Congress. You have to deal with the Supreme Court. You have to deal with other agencies. It's not just about you. You can't just do things that you want to do. And that's probably why former President Trump says he wants to be dictator for a day. Because as a dictator, I can just do what I want. I don't have to listen to the judicial branch. I don't have to listen to the legislative branch. I can just do whatever I want. And that's a business mindset. But when you become a politician, it's different. You have to work with people. And because you have to work with people, that's where, and former President Trump saw a lot of that. He realized, okay, I can't just build a wall. Even if I want to, even if Mexico's not paying for it, I can't just build a wall, because guess what? I don't have this. And so what did he do? He diverted some of the money that was already allocated for other things, for like an emergency response and all that. He diverted some of that money to start building the wall, but he didn't have enough because he had to go to Congress to get it. So that means that you have to negotiate with Congress in order to get the money to build a wall. And I'm just using the wall as an example because that was one of his key pledges when he was president, or prior to him becoming president. This is what he's going to do. This is what he's going to do. The reason why it didn't get done is because he thought that he, as a businessman, yes, if you want to do something, you're the end all be all. Here's the money. Let's go ahead and take care of it. But when you have to answer to other people, it doesn't work that way. Now, a politician would know that. A career politician, someone who has some experience as a politician, knows that I can't just get things done on my own. I'm going to need to lean on people. I'm going to need to have people in my corner, and I'm also going to need to negotiate. And that's why when I was talking about Social Security, I was talking about the Martin O'Malley, the new commissioner. He's a career politician. Okay, not all career politicians are bad. Some of them are very effective. But he was the mayor in Baltimore. He was the governor of Maryland. That stuff matters because you have connections. You know how things work. You are able to speak in a way that people understand. You're able to a good politician. I'm talking about good politician. I'm not just talking about everyone. You're able to make promises that you know you can keep. And that's important. Because when you make promises that you can't keep and you know that you can't keep, then when you get called on the carpet for it, then it's like, oh, well, So a good politician knows what he or she can do, knows that they can make these promises. And some of these promises aren't glamorous. Some of these promises aren't the big things that you might hear some politicians talk about. But at least you know what you can do. And you know how to talk to the American people, as well as you know how to talk to other politicians. And you know how politicians are thinking. That's a big thing. So I think Martin O'Malley, as the commissioner of Social Security, is a good fit because he is a politician. And he knows how these politicians are thinking. And he knows the certain, ways to maneuver and get some of the things that he needs to get done. All right. Okay. You guys got me talking about everything. Hey, but I'm going to be honest with you. There's certain situations, I'm going to talk about. Let's see. Why gas prices are higher, period, since Biden. Okay, so gas prices. Let's put that out real quick. So gas prices go up and down. Okay? That's just the reality. The president, we have reserves that we can dig into, and sometimes the presidents will dig into those reserves. We might see that come summer because gas prices, they will spike in the summer because of travel. It's a travel time, so prices will go up. But presidents still, you could make some gas prices overall. It could be an international thing as well, where you could make some alliances with people, make some agreements with other countries, and that could bring gas prices down as well. But gas prices are going to go up and down. They're going to fluctuate. I would say that the president has a little more power over regulating the gas prices than he does the overall economy. Just because we have the oil reserves they can dig into. We have the fact that they can talk to other countries like Saudi Arabia and some of these other countries that they can strike deals with. So that can happen. But gas prices, they're high. They are high. Now looking overall as far as year to year, one thing we have to understand, and I think this is not being talked about enough when it comes to just talking about these different issues. When it comes to inflation, we're going to see inflation every year. That's normal. 2%, 3%. We're going to see that every year. For an economy, and this is going to shock, well, I'm not going to shock you, but for an economy, we want to see a little bit of inflation. The Federal Reserve says they want inflation at about 2%. Okay. The reason why you want to see inflation is because you want to see companies growing. You want to see the economy growing. Okay. And so you're going to see inflation. So, and we all know this, right? 10 years ago, gas prices were a certain price. They're more expensive now. Why? Gas prices is higher now. That's because every year we see a little bit of inflation. Okay, that's why if you're receiving Social Security benefits or if you're working in a job, and I don't know about all jobs, but like I know in my job, you're working for the government, every year they look at a cost of living adjustment. Okay, so if you're receiving Social Security benefits, they look at a cost of living adjustment. When I was working, we would have a contract, and we would every year they would be going over the contract, and part of that contract would be a cost of living adjustment. Usually, it was like 2%, 2% or 3%. The reason why they're doing that is because every year the price of things will go up, and that's what we want. What we don't want is deflation. We don't want things to drop to where there's no inflation at all. And now we're going to see our economy tank. We're going to see businesses and everything tank. We don't want to see that. So we want to see that growth. We just don't want sky high inflation like we saw in 2022. Okay. And what happens is, yes, if you're printing money and, getting all that money out to everyone and everyone's spending money, yes, prices of things will go up. And some companies will keep those prices up for as long as possible, right? If I can charge you $5 for a dozen eggs, then, those same eggs I was charging you $3 for a couple of years ago, but inflation happened and now I'm charging you $5 for those same dozen eggs. I'm going to try to keep that price up to $5. Why would I drop it unless I have to drop it? And the only way that I'm going to have to drop it is if people get fed up and people stop buying eggs or they go somewhere else. Someone else is selling eggs for cheaper. And now I have these eggs sitting in my grocery store, and they're starting to get old. Get up, you know what? I need to drop those prices of eggs. And so that's how that's going to have to happen. But in a lot of situations, these companies have no real incentive to bring the prices down, and they can always blame inflation. They can raise prices and blame inflation. California, we're going through this right now in the restaurant industry and fast food, because they've now it's now official. You're working at a restaurant. I think that you have to have 60 restaurants or more. If you have 60 restaurants or more, then the employees will receive it's $20 an hour minimum wage. Okay. So a lot of the restaurants are saying, well, we can't do this. We have to raise prices. Okay, that's fine. Raise prices. But I will guarantee you one thing. If they start getting pushback from the customers and customers stop going to those restaurants, they're going to drop those prices. That's how it works. So they can say all they want. Well, $20 an hour, we can't afford this, but we're going to pay $1 million or $2 or $3 million to the CEO and all the execs. They're getting $1 million each. We never talk about the top end, how much those people are making. But when it comes to the line worker making $20 an hour, that's a huge problem. And so now we're going to have to, lay people off, and we're going to have to raise prices and all of this stuff. But I guarantee you, people stop going to those places, or you have other competitors that don't raise their prices as much, those competitors are going to get more business. I was just watching on the news, In-N-Out hamburger. I don't eat hamburgers very often, but if I'm going to eat a hamburger, I'm going to In-N-Out, because just in my opinion, they have the best hamburgers. I think they raised their price in California $25. Wow, 25 cents. But some of their competitors raised their prices like 60 cents, $1. And in my opinion, and In-N-Out already, the prices for In-N-Out is pretty reasonable. I told the story. I went to El Pollo Loco, and we're just talking now. I'm off all the topics, but I went to El Pollo Loco about a month ago, and I got a burrito and 2 tacos, those little small tacos, and the price came to like $18. I think it was $18, $17 or $18 for 3 items. No drink, nothing. No chips, just a burrito and 2 tacos. 2 tacos. $18. Go to In-N-Out, and like I said, I don't go very often, but I like their cheeseburgers. So sometimes I'll get 2 cheeseburgers. Well done, 1 animal style, 1 with onions, and then an order of French fries. So 3 items. And the bill came to $10. $10 for food that, in my opinion, In-N-Out is much better than an El Pollo Loco, than any other hamburger place that I've, seen in or been to in California or pretty much anywhere. But it's a lot less. And they pay their employees a lot more than In-N-Out. They've always paid their employees a lot more. And their customer service is much better, and I think it's as a result of that. You have employees that go there knowing that they're going to be paid well, and whatever they do with their training and all that stuff, they're very good at training their employees. Never get it. I'm not being sponsored by In-N-Out or anything. I'm just telling you guys, it's just my opinion. But they never get anything wrong. Like, very rarely will I ever have a messed up order. I can go to some other fast food places, some places that we all know about, the most popular hamburger place, and they always mess up my order. Always. In-N-Out, I could think of not even maybe 2 times where my order was messed up. 2 times. And, I've been going there for years. So anyway, I don't even know where we were going. We were talking about gas prices, but I'm all off on a different topic. But anyway, yeah. So when it comes to just prices, and I transitioned into California. California is having a situation right now where, yes, they're raising prices. But this is going to be a situation where if we don't go there, I can guarantee you, if people stop going to some of these places that were saying they're going to raise prices, they're going to have to adjust, or they're going to go bankrupt. They're going to go under. There was a place, I think I was watching this, Foster's Freeze, which I personally don't see very many of those restaurants, but they were going out of business in California. I can't remember what city they're in. They actually talked to one of the I think this was on Fox Business. They were talking to one of the managers, I think, and she was just talking about this whole situation of the fact they're raising the minimum wage and all that. And she was kind of, it's a good thing that they're raising it for the people who are working, but it's bad because, now they have to raise prices and all this. Well, this Foster's is going out, they're closing their door. Actually, they closed their doors. And the boss, you know what the boss said? He said it's a result of the raising the minimum wage. Now, when I heard that, I said, no, it's not. It's not you can't tell me that they weren't having problems before that to get them to this point where they're closing doors. Because this just happened. They haven't even paid the first paycheck yet. So they were having issues already. Okay. But what was hilarious about the whole situation is that she said that that Foster's doesn't even meet that requirement to have to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour for those employees because they don't have enough restaurants. So he didn't have to raise the minimum wage at all. But he used that as an excuse. Why? Because it makes it look better for him. It's like, you know what? I can't do anything. My hands are tied. They're forcing me to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour, so I'm just not going to raise it to $20 an hour. I have to just close up shop, and then I'll just blame it on that. But she, as a manager, said, yeah, we didn't even qualify for the $20 an hour raise. And yeah, so I don't know. All right, let's see. A few more questions, and then we'll go for tonight. Let's see. Yes, and inflation is terrible. I don't know. Let's see. Always has long lineups in Arizona. Very popular. Oh, In-N-Out. In-N-Out. I got you. Okay. Yes, and inflation is terrible. In and out always has long lines. So there's one in Arizona now. That's crazy. I think there's one in, well, I know there's one in Nevada, or at least there might be a few in Las Vegas now. But when I was going to college out there, that was like the first in and out outside of California. But if you guys have never gone in and out, if you live in another state and you come to California or you go to Arizona, apparently, you go to some other places, I think there might even be one in Idaho, go to In-N-Out. Just go to In-N-Out. It might be a little different, okay? It's an acquired taste. It's different, but it's good. You'll enjoy it. All right. Okay. Let's see. 46 says, so 46, President Biden says we have the best economy ever. Also, lowest unemployment. Our unemployment is low. It is low. Homeless camps getting larger every day. More people sleeping in cars. Yeah, so when it comes to our economy, and this is just the way that I see things, okay, when it comes to the economy overall is doing well. Businesses are making record profits, okay? But that's not trickling down to customers. We're not seeing it. And maybe it'll take a little bit of time. The hope is that we'll see grocery stores start to bring their prices down. That's the talk. But in a lot of cases, we're not seeing some of those good deals when it comes to food. Now, some other items, I'm seeing prices of other items come down. But when it comes to food, I think food is still inflated. It should be going down lower than what it is. But our overall economy is fine. Look at the different industries. They were talking about we were going to have a housing crash and all of this stuff. Housing market is doing fine. I was concerned when I bought my house because I was thinking, well, yeah, I just bought my house and now, we might be falling into a recession and all of this stuff and all, so that hasn't happened, thank God. And so on that end, yes, it's good. Now, as far as the homeless camps and things like that, certain cities, yes, they have a homeless problem. Absolutely. I don't know about people living in cars. I don't know anything about that, but I will say businesses are happy. The stock market is happy as far as our economy. We're seeing record profits, like I said. The stock market's hitting record highs. So some of those areas, yes. But I'm not going to say, well, yeah, Biden did all this. I don't believe in the talk of Bidenomics or the talk of presidents, saying this is my economy, it's doing great. I don't believe in that because I know they have very little control over that. So that's all I'm going to say with that. They can get lucky. They can get lucky, yes. But and presidents generally do that, right? If the economy's good, because they know that the American people, they don't look far enough into it. They don't realize that presidents don't really have that power. And so if the economy's doing well, they're going to say, well, look, the economy's doing well. And they'll say, elect me, reelect me, whatever. The economy's doing well. Look what I did. But when the economy's doing bad, then it's like, I don't have any control. Then they'll tell you the truth, Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. Anything else? Make America great again. I want to know. Oh, man. Why'd you have to put that on there? Yeah. Yet another example of what I was trying to say when it comes to former President Trump. I don't want to beat him up too bad, but, he's selling Bibles, things like that. I mean, if you really want to help the American people, help the American people. But selling all these different things, selling shoes, selling the Bible, selling NFTs, man, just all the different things that you're selling. It's about me making more money. Me. What would you guys think about me? And I'm doing a live stream. I have a YouTube channel. How would you feel if every 5 minutes of this live stream, I say, hey, guess what? I got some water. This is, endorsed by me. buy my water. And then I say, oh, I have, this mouse. This is endorsed by me. So every 5 minutes, I'm trying to sell you something. What would you guys think? You guys would be like, what is going on? Like, are you here to talk to us, or are you just here to sell stuff to us, So, yeah. And that's my point when it comes to, and even and I see MW saying this, as businessman, even a businessman knows, hey, there's certain things that I should just, I don't want to oversell you. I can sell you things, but I don't want it to look like a good business person will sell you something where you don't think you're being sold. That makes sense. Okay. You think you're getting a great deal. You're not even thinking about this, that you've been sold to. That's a good businessman. But if you're just selling things, and just random things, shoes, golden shoes, come on. And you're selling stuff that you don't even wear. Like, could you see former President Trump wearing golden shoes? Never. Like, if he really wanted to sell something, sell golf shoes, sell golf shirts. We know he likes to golf. Okay, that makes sense. These are endorsed by me, just like athletes. You look at athletes. What are they selling? Usually they're selling things that are related to the things that they do, right? They're not selling just off the wall crazy things. And on this channel, this is a good example. On this channel, every day I will get emails from people wanting me to sponsor their products. Every day I'll get emails. Some of them, and you have to be careful because some of these emails are actually scams, and I found that out. But they're always trying to sell me, or they always want me to sell, sponsor, they'll pay me to sponsor different things. But if it's not related to the channel, the reason why, I haven't done too many sponsors on this channel, because they're not related. Like, I'm not going to sell you something that's not related to retirement, Social Security, or just something that I think that you guys could get some value out of, or something that I use. Like if In-N-Out, I'm not selling an In-N-Out ad, but you guys know I like In-N-Out. If In-N-Out came to me and said, hey, you know what? Why don't you do a 60-second spot on your live stream, and we'll sponsor your live stream. Guess what? Yeah, I would do it. Why? Because it's something I believe in, something that I actually use. Well, when it comes to Trump, can you see Trump wearing those golden shoes? Do you think he's ever worn those shoes? It doesn't make sense. The Bible, another thing. When was the last time that you saw former President Trump in a church or coming out of a church after Easter Sunday or any time? When was the last time you saw him coming out of a church? But he's selling a Bible? That's, I don't know. I don't know if I can believe that. If he's a businessman, keep selling your business books. Art of the Deal. Sell some of that stuff. Okay. That's more understandable. But when you're just trying to sell everything, it gets to a point where people just look at it. And I think people now, they're just laughing, but people just look at it and like, dude, you're doing too much. You're trying to sell too many things to us. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, even the when he was arrested in Georgia, the mugshot, he's selling that, and then he's selling pieces of the suit that he wore. Like, come on. That's just, I don't know. You guys tell me that's just think about it. Take Trump out of the whole thing and just think as an average, just a everyday person like me. I'm doing a live stream right now. I'm wearing this black shirt, and then next week you see me, with this shirt, and I'm cutting the shirt up, and I'm saying, hey, guess what? For $30, a piece. I'm going to sell you a little piece of my shirt. That would be crazy. Or a piece of my hat, you know? Oh, man. All right. All right, guys. I think I think I said enough. All right. Okay. Any other questions? I like to give like 2 minutes before the end if you guys have any last words before we go. I appreciate you guys stopping by and listening to me ramble on about a few different things. But we did talk a little bit about Social Security. That's my main thing that I wanted to talk about. But I want to do the live. Look, the live streams for me is an opportunity for me to talk with you guys and to find out what you guys think about certain or different topics. Okay, so that's the main reason, the benefit of a live stream. Now, in the future, we are going to cover things like I do want to cover this hush money case trial next. When is it? Start on the 15th. I want to cover that. I do want to cover some other things as well. And so you guys just let me know what you guys want me to talk about. Just let me know. Hey, let's talk about this. Like they asked about Trump. You're going to support Trump? I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. Vince is saying, I'm just cracking myself up with his funny jokes. No, I'm not making jokes. I'm just, tell me if I'm not, are you guys not seeing this? Are you not seeing him try to sell pretty much everything? You know, and I did see one person say that he's trying to pay his legal bills and all that. But I mean, come on. You know what? If you're honest with the American people and say, look, I mean, he would never do this because he's supposed to have the money, right? So that's his, you know, his MO is he's a billionaire. So he shouldn't have any problem with paying his legal bills and all that. But if you were to come to the American people, which maybe he has, I don't know. I don't follow all the stuff that he's doing, but maybe if he came to the American people and say, look, I need your help. I need you guys to help me pay for my legal bills. Then maybe people will do that. But you don't have to sell. You don't have to sell. You don't have to sell people just stuff that's just random. You know, and like I said, if he has good people that are running his campaign and running his business or whatever it is, that could sit him down and say, hey, you know what? You play golf, sell golf gloves, sell ties, even selling the hat. That's okay. The Make America Great Again hat. Okay. That's okay. But when you start going off and start selling just random stuff, it doesn't look good. You know, people look at that and they're thinking, this is not normal. Like, you know, there's certain things that you know, you could sell, but you don't want to you don't want to be just selling everything, and sell things that you endorse, that you use. And I know criticism of former President Trump is that he's selling the Bible and he's never read the Bible. No, you know, I'm not going to say he's never read the Bible, but I've heard him talk about the Bible, and some of the stuff that he talks about when he's talking about the Bible sounds like he's never read the Bible. So just stuff like that. Sell things that are believable. I think that's the best, the best way to go. And you can sell more by doing that. You know, if you're a businessman, you should know that. Like if I'm selling something that I actually use, the best example, Michael Jordan. Jordan uses Jordans. That's why that's, you know, the number one selling sneaker, probably the number one selling sneaker in the world. Like, there are people all like, this is crazy. Nike is big here in the US. And when you go to other countries, and you guys know I travel to Colombia a lot, Nike is not big there, but it's very sought after. Out there, Adidas is bigger, and Adidas is bigger because of soccer. And so soccer out there, Adidas has they have a stranglehold on that market. So a lot of people wear Adidas out there. But Nike, you know, that's one way. Like they tell us when you travel, like they could tell, and they call foreigners in Latin countries gringos. And they know as a gringo if he's wearing like Nikes, because Nikes, they don't wear a lot of Nikes out there. Nikes are very expensive as well out there. And so, but they're sought after because they're kind of, I don't know. I don't really, I guess I can't get into the psychology of why they really like Nike, but, but I think it has to do with Michael Jordan, the US, they see that. Okay. People, when it comes to sports and entertainment, we dominate those areas, like all over the world. Like you'll see, like you'll go into, and I'm going off on this. This will be the last little story, but you'll go into a store and you're going to see, even though basketball is not popular in Latin America, you're going to see Michael Jordan. You're going to see Shaquille O'Neal. You're going to see Kobe Bryant. You're going to see all of that when you go. Like if you go to a shoe store in Colombia, you're going to see all of those like pictures and posters and all that stuff. You're going to see Laker jerseys. You're going to see all of this stuff in Colombia. And basketball is not even popular out there, but they know it because of the U.S. and we dominate the sports when it comes down to that. Okay, now soccer, yeah, we don't dominate soccer, but when it comes to other sports, we dominate that. And so just getting back to Jordan, the reason why Jordans are as popular as they are is because he endorsed them, he used them, he wore them. And so it made sense. It was easy to take. Now, if he was selling, I don't know, Bibles, if Jordan was selling Bibles, he probably wouldn't be selling that many Bibles, right? Or if he was selling cupcakes, like he probably wouldn't be that successful selling those. But if he's selling something that he actually wears and endorses, and we know that he's wearing them, people are gonna, kids are growing up, they're looking at these Nikes. I want to be like, Mike. So I'm gonna buy these Jordans because he wears them. That's how you can be successful selling these things. You have to make it has to be believable. But if you're just selling anything, it's not believable. Who the heck is, it just doesn't make any sense. Let's see. All right, guys. Okay, we're gonna take off. Thank you guys all for being here. We'll be back next Friday. Wow. We'll be back next Thursday, 5 p.m. 5:50. Wow. Let me start over. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll be back next Thursday, 5:15 Pacific Standard Time, doing a live stream, and then we'll have a video. I'm going to be posting videos every day, so we'll have a video tomorrow. I think I will cover some more of the Social Security stuff, the stuff that we couldn't cover tonight. And I think that's all. Thanks for stopping by. Talk to you in the next one.